Senator لاریسا Waters, the Australian Green Senator for Queensland. Thank you for accepting us for this interview, and also thank you for your concern about Iranian uprising and caring for the women life freedom revolution.
You're so welcome, Masood. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you. As first question, in the last 5 months, there has been a big uprising in Iran, and the slogan "Women, Life, Freedom," and millions or maybe hundreds of thousands of people in the street been demanding the basic human rights and freedom. What is your point of view of that situation? And after 44 years for the dictatorship of Islamic Republic of Iran, such a amazing and important slogan, "Women, Life, Freedom," and uprising in the street. What do you think about this situation, and what is your idea?
It's been incredible to watch the people of Iran, in particular the women of Iran, to take to the streets and demand their basic human rights, which are being denied by the Islamic Republic. It's incredible to Australians who enjoy freedom and a democratically elected government that people around the world don't have a government that respects their human rights and respects their liberty and wants to make decisions that are good for the people. So we have been in awe of the courage and the bravery and the strength of the Iranian people to challenge their government, and their regime has met them with violence and with silencing and with disappearings and absolute breaches of fundamental human rights. And yet the spirit of the people has not been dampened. And I think the slogan "Woman, Life, Freedom" has really united people in a desire for a non-violent, peaceful transition to a democratic government. And that's electric. War and brutality has been forced upon the people, and they're demanding freedom and peace and life.
Exactly. The second question is regarding 44 years of the Kurdish people especially fighting against this regime. It turned to a uprising from a new generation of Iranian people, the younger ones, and especially women. And we see under this slogan of "Woman, Life, Freedom," which basically surprised the whole world in the middle of Middle East in an Islamic dictatorship. Such a beautiful slogan united the people in the street, and that's amazing. And what do you think? Don't you think like a great change within the society happening these days? And the Iranian people basically changed a lot by bringing this slogan and uniting them under this slogan.
We've seen a real uprising of young people demanding their basic human rights, standing up for women's rights to wear what they want to wear, to study what they want to study, to go where they want to go, to be able to make choices about their own lives. And that's a global movement of gender equality and human rights. And so it's been just electric to see the strength of young people speaking out against a regime that wants to silence them, that wants to arrest them, that unfortunately has a history of murderous oppression. And the strength of women and the global community can't be underestimated. I'm very optimistic that we will see a positive outcome here. I think that we will see the people continue to peacefully resist a regime that has been brutally oppressing them, and I think that regime will be overthrown. And I would love to see for the people of Iran to elect their own government. I would love to see it a government that's representative of all of the minorities and folk that make up Iran. So a parliament that's half women, a parliament that has those ethnic minorities represented appropriately. That's what some of the other nations of our world are able to have, and there's no reason that the Iranian people can't have that too. They are entitled to that basic human right of freedom and of democracy.
It's amazing your positive approach to this revolution, which is basically brings democracy and freedom to the society and the basic rights for every human being, woman, children, poor, rich, doesn't matter which level of society you are and which class you are. We all need to live in a safe and free society with with having the freedom of speech. So what do you think if this revolution achieves what they want, what we want as an Iranian, as a Kurdish people, the effect of this victory for people will be on basically Middle East mainly, but in general in the world, since the Iranian regime is one of the sponsors of terrorism around the world and extremism. So what do you think will we, as an Australian or the international community, will achieve from this?
I think it would be hugely significant, not just, as you say, for the Iranian people, for the Kurds, for everyone in the Middle East, but I think it would send a message to the rest of the world that human rights, that women's rights and that democracy are a basic entitlement for all people on this planet. And I think it would send real waves of change to the remaining regimes that deny their citizens human rights, that deny women the right to go to university or the right to drive or the right to be outside without a chaperone. I think it really would strengthen the global equality movement. I think it would strengthen the move towards democracy. And certainly here in Australia, I'm sure the Iranian diaspora would feel a lot safer. And as Australians, we would be comforted knowing that people are having a government that represents them and that looks after their interests and that isn't oppressing women. I think that would have global impact.
Thank you very much. We like to say thank you to Australian government for taking steps to support Iranian uprising and especially Iranian women in this revolution. But also I would like to ask, Australia has a great experience in achieving human rights, basic human rights, freedom, democracy, and of course, Australian people in general have been fighting to achieve these goals. But what we can do as Australian from our experience and the power we have to help Iranian to achieve their goals with less bloodshed, and especially how much pressure and what we can do against the Iranian regime to accept people's demand from Australia?
Well, I think there's a lot that Australia and the Australian government can do, and certainly our Australian government has done some things and has been sending those messages to the IRGC and to the Islamic Republic that their violent treatment of their own citizens is not tolerated, is not acceptable. And there's been the imposition of some targeted sanctions, financial sanctions on certain individuals associated with the IRGC. So there has been some steps taken already, which are very welcome. There's been some other countries around the world that have moved even faster and even more strongly. And as a Green senator, who's someone that's not in the party of government, I'm encouraging our current government to be faster, to be stronger in their response to the Islamic Republic of Iran, and to really send that strong signal that the IRGC is acting like a terrorist organisation and should be declared as such, and to increase those targeted sanctions on the regime's officials to send that strongest possible message that Australia stands for human rights, we stand for freedom, we stand for gender equality, and that we will use our diplomatic strength and influence to make sure that citizens everywhere can be safe and can be properly represented by their government, not targeted and arrested and disappeared by their government.
Thank you very much, Senator لاریسا Waters. At the end, we love to hear your message for Iranian women in particular, for continuing their struggle, their fight to achieve their goals. What is your message for Iranian people in general, women and the people in Kurdistan?
My message to the people in Kurdistan and the women of Iran more broadly is thank you for your courage and your determination. You are asking for something that is perfectly reasonable and that you have a right to have, and that is freedom to make decisions about your own future, decisions about your own clothing, about your own body, and about your own government. So to Gina Amini's family, our heart goes out to you, but look at what this has started, look at what this has ignited. This is a real movement for freedom for women, and it's one that Australia stands alongside you in. And I'm really hopeful that the young women of Iran will be able to have freedom and life and a democracy and the ability to make choices for themselves in years to come. So, Xinjiang Azadi, and we stand by you.
And also, I love to mention your policy, Green Party's policy, fight for the future. And Xinjiang Azadi very much related to this fight for the future. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
You're so welcome, Masood.
Thank you.